Before we get into the Kenya Moore intro, let me quickly say this. So when I did my review on the episode when Sanya's husband stood up and basically cursed at Kenya and Cheree and then walked away from the table, I did say that I was going to do a video concentrating 100% on that moment. I was going to include social media reaction and all of that, but I never got around to posting that video. I decided to just focus on my reviews and then move on. But I'm realizing that it's still hot topic on social media, so I'm going to dedicate this video to that moment and that moment alone. And then my next video will focus on my review on the entire episode, the most recent one. I did a part 1 before the episode came on. Well, I have a part 2 coming up. Let's get into the intro and into my commentary.
She's at a place in her life where peace is a priority and negativity cannot exist. She's no longer matching energy. She's simply removing herself from any situation that doesn't vibrate her soul. So if you start moving funny, she's moving on.
What's up, my Fina love? Sisters Fina D coming to you all from Fina Tima News.
She's an icon, she's a legend, and she is the moment.
Maybe if I hadn't seen this clip of Ross, I could see the argument that he rides for his wife and doesn't tolerate disrespect towards her. But I have seen it. He had 0% of this energy with one of his peanut head friends disrespecting Sonya and her sister. Due to copyright reasons, I cannot play the clip. But if you click the very first link in the description below, if Twitter did not delete it, it's going to take you to her page and you can watch the entire clip. Basically, Sanya's sister is being disrespected by her husband. At this point, they were not married. She's saying that he said, he called her his girlfriend. He said, I didn't. I'm just summarizing. You're not worth being my girlfriend. He was very rude, disrespectful, condescending. She got upset, got up, grabbed a glass of water, threw the water in his face. He called her the B word. He insulted her, came for Sonya, and Roz is standing there the entire time with a smirk on his face. And of course, people are disgusted that she didn't only forgive him, she married him, and now they have children. So of course, we are aware that this happened years ago. Maybe he watched it and said, you know what, I would never allow that to happen again, and people can change. This person is basically saying, as a man, you stood there and watched another man disrespect your wife's sister, also disrespected your wife in the way how he was talking to her and talking to the sister, and you stood there and did absolutely nothing. No, what are you doing? You don't come at women like that. You don't talk to women like that. I understand that both of you are going through it, but that's not, what I'm saying? Something. No one is saying jump in and fight the guy or do any of that. He didn't put his hands on her. He was rude. He was disrespectful. But as a man standing there watching him talk to your sister-in-law and then talk to your wife in that manner, like nothing. He just stood there looking around like this was normal. I guess it's normal for them. This is okay. They're arguing again. She's throwing water in his face. This is just another day. Child, let me go ahead and continue playing my pool. They didn't even have a conversation, like a firm conversation with him. However, you had all this energy and smoke towards women. Where was this energy in this video? That's what this person is saying. Even though it happened years ago, even though it's just a clip and we don't know what happened after that, that's all they're saying. When Ross stood up, I noticed a strange look on Sanya's face, almost fearful. Y'all check for it. Well, they said it. I didn't. He said, Sonya, go and get your bleeping sister, and called her a... Ross stood there smiling, didn't even flinch. Sonya must need a second to remember this disrespect She's used to it. Okay, they wrote it, I didn't. Sonya is embarrassing herself more on social media, celebrating this moment by posting a family picture, which I'm not going to include, but I will include her caption. Our protector and my best friend, always and forever, and go ahead and read the rest. Protect her from what? Two black women who stayed in their seat and were having a conversation with your messy self, Sonya. You run around causing trouble, and you're a hypocrite and a flip-flopper, and you're being called out on your ish, and now you need protecting. Oh my gosh, I'm so scared of the two black women. Forget about Cheree because she's not even being mentioned, and most of the energy was going towards QueenYa. So let's focus on QueenYa because if you read all of the comments, it's nothing but QueenYa, QueenYa, QueenYa. So let's focus on QueenYa. Protect her from what? From QueenYa? Did they try to jump you? What happened to the Jamaican tyrant? What happened to that person? All that muff, but you need protecting. A man standing up and doing that. Protection from what? But yet, QueenYa calls him aggressive, and oh my goodness, there goes a black woman calling a black man aggressive. Oh, you need to be careful with your words, QueenYa. Yeah, the people who are making a big deal on social media. You have to be careful because when you call a black man aggressive, here's a black woman calling a black man her protector because he stood up to intimidate two black women, especially one of them that did not have men to stand up for them. This is not something you brag about. And they lit her up in her comments. A few of the comments are still there, but these people to be deleting the negative comments. The ones that I was able to capture, I'm going to read. I like y'all, but didn't like how he went at a woman like that. He doesn't need to protect you in a discussion. You're a strong woman and can handle your own. You see how they wrote a woman? I keep telling you, Cheree, who is Cheree? Cheree doesn't exist in this story. No one is mentioning Cheree. It's all QueenYa, QueenYa, QueenYa. She is the moment. And that's the reason why Sonya realized, you know what? I moved my entire family here. This has to work. Drew ain't gonna cut it. Let me go ahead and basically join the playbook of everybody else and come after the moment. And you all know what happened, okay? Without even trying or breaking a sweat, QueenYa shut her down. It was embarrassing. But that's in my review. So we're going to focus on this video and these comments. But trust and believe, I have more social media reaction in my review when it comes to that moment when QueenYa just basically demolished her and asked for a birthday cake at the end. Now let's get back to the responses under the previous comment that I read. I agree, not very manly. Now, if it were men, sure, but not women. Petty stuff. He only embarrassed himself. So while Sonya is thinking her man did something, no, this is embarrassing. We don't need another Patricia. Poor Peter Thomas. He's like, now why am I in it, Chad? It's always her mama or husband talking for her when things get heated up. Jamaican tyrant might. No, he didn't. He acted like a man. Protect his wife from another woman? Nah, that's not right. QueenYa was not hostile. There was no yelling, no standing up, no breaking of glasses. It was literally a conversation. And it's like, Cheree was there. Cheree started all of this. Cheree went to QueenYa to whisper whatever Sonya told her. But as you can see, QueenYa, QueenYa, QueenYa. Why? Because like I said in my review, all of her energy was towards QueenYa, her husband, the same thing, because they know coming after QueenYa could possibly save her peach. Like I said previously, when you've moved your entire family to a completely different state, then whatever you moved them there for absolutely have to work. Not saying that they won't be okay financially if the Real Housewives of Atlanta doesn't work. But like I said, when you uproot your family, then at least you want something to work for a while. So we shall see. It's just proving that all of these comments I'm reading are from her page, not no QueenYa Moore fan page or nothing. This person wrote, Ross is so chill, but you can tell he will protect his family no matter what. Respect due. Sanya responded with some heart emojis. And this other person responded, side-eye emoji. You and him should be ashamed. You were not in any danger. My point. Oh, but Kenya Moore used the word aggressive in this. Oh my God. I talked about all of this in my review. So let's just wait for my review. Protector, laughing face emojis from Kenya girl. What did I say? It's almost like he stood up and turned his body in a way where it was like his face and Kenya. It was almost like, Cheree, I know you're here. But he had all the smoke for Kenya. Yeah, I heard what Candy said on Speak on It. That's going to be a separate video. I'm just going off the energy that I got. And yeah, they wanted all the smoke with Kenya, as if Cheree wasn't even there. Everyone is just mentioning Kenya, even though it was Kenya and Cheree that were in it. Cheree was the one who brought the mess to Kenya, but it's Kenya, because everyone saw where the energy was directed. And I said this in my last video. I called it before any of this happened. And once again, Kenya Moore is vindicated. They just want an issue with her. The woman couldn't even list her issues that she had with Kenya. But you know what? Stop. Let me stop doing that. That's going to be in my review. Protector, laughing face emojis from Kenya girl. As a true Jamaican, basically go ahead and read the rest. Calling Tanya a flip-flopper. All of that. Basically, Ross should have left. Got it. Next comment. Ross, you are totally out of order standing up and cursing at women. You are a punk boy. At Kenya should have stood up and cursed your bleep out or asked you to get the bleep out. Leave or be escorted by security. Security? You just a boy trying to defend your wife who was foul and lied and didn't want to take accountability for her actions. I wish I was there to tell your skinny bleep off. Ooh, women business is not your place. Damn. Ooh, child. Okay. Agree. Kenya did respond, but he walked away from the table, so there was no way to address him. It was nice to see Drew, stepping in and basically defending Kenya in that situation. We already know who feel like Russ did absolutely nothing wrong. Candy, yep, she and her entire crew felt like he did nothing wrong. And I have a separate video coming up about that. Speaking of calling Russ a punk, it's this tweet right here. I didn't hear Russ apologize to Kenya. He's a punk. Once again, Kenya, Cheree was there. So most of you are aware that when Kenya came to dinner and she was saying hi to everybody, he actually stood up and gave her a hug. Maybe they had an off-camera conversation. Who knows what happened? I'm just saying, if you do something on camera, then you apologize on camera. Maybe something also happened at the reunion. A conversation happened, an apology happened, because she tweeted, he's not a punk. He's actually a very sweet person. It was an awkward moment that we got past, okay? So here's Kenya once again showing him grace. She always does this. People do her wrong. She showed them grace. That's the reason why she will continue to be blessed. Because Kenya could have made a big deal about this and say, I feel threatened. I don't want to film with her. I don't want to film with him. I don't want them on the show. Like, she could have gone as far as Drew did with Cheree friend Fatum. But Kenya is such a nice person that even though what he did was disrespectful, I'm not about to mess with their livelihood and take food off the tables of him and his family. And that's the reason why she will continue to be blessed. So even though Kenya Moore is defending him and the wife have no remorse for what happened, no one is saying don't defend your wife. Kenya Moore's issue is not the fact that Ross defended his wife. Kenya Moore's issue was and is the fact that he stood up in an intimidating way and cursed at them. That's the issue here. No one is saying men shouldn't talk, have a conversation, or have a say-so in the group when everyone is having a conversation. As Sanya said, you know what, I support my husband for, jumping in and defending me. However, I just wish he didn't stand up. Done. At least she acknowledged that. But for you to celebrate a man standing up in the intimidating fashion and cursing at women and calling that my protector, as if these black women were coming for you in an aggressive way when it was the other way around. But then it's, oh, the black woman shouldn't use the word aggressive, but here you are, my protector, and celebrating like he did something when it was women having conversation and no one threatened you all your life. She's absolutely wrong as well. I decided to keep majority of the comments about Sonya's husband in this video, and then all of social media reaction about what happened on Sunday when she was exposed for simply creating an issue with QueenYa because she didn't have one, because when QueenYa put her on the spot, she had no response and she had to think about it. All of those comments will be in my review of the recent episode video. Roz was aggressive. Cheree has always been a clown and a pygmy. She has a history of justifying men being aggressive with QueenYa. I don't know why QueenYa views that viper as a friend. Roz was definitely aggressive. These women are always bickering and you can defend your wife. Nothing wrong with that, but no need to stand up and cuss. It ain't that deep. Welcome to our HOA. Y'all missing the point. All QueenYa is saying is that she understands that he's defending his wife, but standing up, cursing at women, especially when she ain't got no man there to defend her, was too much. I can see it if it was a man coming at Sanya, okay? Defend her without getting too aggressive. Okay? Exactly my thought. Raw's action was inappropriate. He should not address QueenYa. His messy wife need to learn how to fight her own battles. Ross was inappropriate, this person meant. Thank you. If his wife can't handle it, she's on the wrong show. Yeah, I try to be very careful with that word meaning QueenYa saying that she felt like Ross was aggressive in regards to black folks, but a man standing up at the table to curse at a woman is pretty aggressive to me. If he's done that to anyone else, it would have been an issue. Exactly. For some reason, there's something disgusting going on that show and outside of the show when it comes to QueenYa. It's okay for her to be physically, verbally, emotionally, in every way abused. But when it happens to other people, then people show them grace. However, QueenYa is still making a choice to stay on the Real Housewives of Atlanta. In her eyes, this is an easy job. I get to go to work, read a few folks, and get millions of dollars. Why am I going to walk away? So we can talk all day, but if the person who's in the midst of it is still choosing to stay, then who am I to even sit here and say anything else? I'm just reading the comments and reading social media reactions. I'm almost done, and then we're going to get into my actual commentary of the entire episode. But I'm just reading some comments to let you all know there are people on social media defending what QueenYa said. Not everybody is on that bandwagon of it's okay for a man to stand up and be aggressive because it's QueenYa. Go ahead and read the top comment or the top tweet. Whenever the insults are no longer working, let's go to you don't have a man. What woman will be okay with her man being aggressive towards women? This is not anything to celebrate Ross doing. Even though QueenYa is showing him some grace on Twitter, this is not anything to celebrate. That's because he's not going to stand up to women and jump in women business. Having a conversation is one thing. If there's a misunderstanding, having a conversation where no one is feeling intimidated, that's different. Absolutely. The men can have conversations and talk all the time. It's when you stand up and intimidate people. That's when it's different. I'm not sure where the disconnect is. So after this person was done praising Ross, this other person responded, I don't know what show you are watching, but standing up and saying don't bleep with my wife and I'm dead serious is a threat and very aggressive. Ross is, and go ahead and read that, and the truth. The jealousy of not ever having a man's love force behind you. Kenya's man would have never stood up for her. And this person responded, the same Russ that wife said provided no support with the son. His wife doesn't want a second kid to raise alone. Not a catch if all he does is curse at women for a paycheck on TV. Thank you. I think this person meant Kenya be envious because the men she be choosing don't stick up for her, no shade, no tea. This person responded, Matt stuck up for Kenya at the reunion and Andy was trying to get him to stop talking. You are loud and wrong. Yes, Matt, unstable. We can all agree on that. But when it came to defending Kenya, when he wasn't having his unstable moments, he did. But even at that reunion, when he was defending her or attempted to defend her against the disrespectful men, cool. Men having conversations. But when he attempted to even have a say-so when the women started to come for her, and Kenya turned around and did some gestures and you could see her demeanor. Basically, I got this. I'm Kenya Moore. It's nice to have someone behind me for once defending me. But when it comes to the ladies, I got this. Don't do that. And the same thing goes for her soon-to-be ex-husband. She never once wanted him to go and scream at the women, intimidate them. All she was saying is acknowledge the issues that I'm having with some of them and acknowledge the reason why I'm not comfortable with some of them being at our event. She never encouraged that man and didn't encourage that man to go and intimidate women or do any of that. She just wanted her husband to acknowledge her feelings because her feelings are valid. He wanted no parts of the women issues, drama, and business. And that's the reason why he said, I'm inviting everyone. And whatever issues you have with them, go ahead and figure that out. I don't want to be out here looking like I got in the middle of women business. And that's when Portia and other people charm me. We gang over here. If my man don't rock with you, I'm not rocking with you and all of these different things. But that's what that man wanted to do. I don't want to be in the midst of it. But all Kenya wanted was a conversation. So no one is sitting here saying the men shouldn't have a voice on this show, defend their people. It's the way how you do it. May his soul rest in peace. But Greg Leak said, if my wife can't come, I'm not coming. That was it. Case closed. He stood by his wife without putting Kenya down, without being intimidating, without being aggressive, without being any of that. And that's it. Todd Tucker sat at that table, did not stand up, did not intimidate miserable Milo. She called his name, she dragged him in her mess, and he defended himself. So this whole situation, all these people, oh, she's jealous, she's this, that's not the case. Even Kenya is defending Roz on Twitter. Yes, the tweet on the screen. Not only on Twitter, when Sanya posted the Jamaica trip and images this week, of course, flip-flopper Cindy Billy found her way to Sanya page. No surprise here when I tell you the comments on that little emoji. That's a separate video, okay? They did not play with Cynthia Billy. But Kenya Moore also left a comment. Gonna be a good one. Love this. Basically, the episode is gonna be a good one. Love it. Sanya responded with an emoji, and that was it. And if you read the comments on the screen, some of Kenya Moore's supporters are not here for her having any interaction with Sanya. Basically, in other words, we're out here defending you while you're here. And then letting her know that she's dropping hearts emojis to everybody else. But when it came to your emoji, Sanya came for Kenya. Kenya shut her down. Kenya moved on. She doesn't harbor hate in her heart. She have an issue with you. She address it. She moves on. You keep coming for her, she will keep shutting you down. You decide to move on and be like, you know what, girl, let's just move on. She moves on. We've seen it with Drew. We've seen it with Miserable Milo. Unless you continue to insist to have an issue with her, she will move on. She didn't have a problem with him defending his wife. It's the way how he went about it. Had he sat down and calmly had a conversation with them, that's different. But to stand up, curse at them, and then walk in like that person wrote, that's exactly who he is. But all people are saying, if you're going to disrespect someone on camera, then the apology should be on camera. Now, maybe something did happen at the reunion, if it was an apology that happened, or they talked about it, and maybe that's why QueenYa now is having a different approach than what she said in that moment. Also, we didn't get to see everything. So I heard what Candy said on Speak on It as a different video for the reason why he stood up and did all of that. He still directed it towards QueenYa and Cheree, mostly QueenYa. We didn't see everything, but you know how editing works. Speaking of editing, Candy said on Speak on It that there's an entire scene where miserable Milo spent a long time apologizing to Todd, and we didn't even see not one clip. And then Cheree's response about the whole situation did not shock me at all. We're talking about a woman who said that if Kenya Moore got physically assaulted by her ex, she deserved it because she provoked people. And then said Kenya Moore was lying to her about, her own history, just for her ex-husband Bob to confirm it, embarrass her, and Kenya was willing to put their differences aside, and she was the only one who stood up and gave Cheree a hug. And even after this moment, Cheree still attempted to start some mess with Kenya, and she got dragged. And of course, we can't forget what happened in Miami, and Candy was the only one who defended Kenya and said, no, this guy is off. Phaedra Parks confused. They all got dragged for defending him. So, this is not Kenya's first time on this show. She is not protected at all on this show. Everyone agreeing that Ross did nothing wrong, but the moment Todd Tucker said, leave my name the bleep out of your conversation if you don't want me to respond now, is I don't have a man, and why are you cursing at me? Todd did not curse you out. He said, leave my bleeping name or leave my name out of the bleeping conversation. She blew that up and made this big deal right after Candy made her point for the reason why she stepped in for Ralph, because she knew had Ralph gone back and forth with Milo, he would have been placed in the Peter Thomas 2.0 category, and you don't come at women and all of these different things. And she knew that he couldn't defend himself, so that's why she stepped in to call Milo out and shut Milo down. And this whole time, Kenya is on her side smirking. Because at this point, she doesn't even have to say anything. She doesn't even have to point out the hypocrisy. She's smiling like, y'all doing it for me. And Todd didn't even get up. He didn't get up. He didn't raise his voice. He wasn't intimidating. And the same Milo who thought what Ross did the night before was appropriate and acceptable, she starts screaming and doing the most. Bunch of hypocrites. And then Sonya just sat there quiet. You saw her face because it was like, okay, she knew my husband did worse last night and I thought he was in the right. She couldn't even back Milo up at that point. They are all a bunch of hypocrites. On the screen are tweets and responses from the people who were just shocked that Sanya's sister still went ahead and married the man who did all that to her. So I just wanted to let you all know that, yes, people were upset and they did tweet about it. But it doesn't matter how many more comments I read about this situation. You get the point. Do not ever think for a second that there are not people on social media with enough sense to speak up and defend right from wrong. I understand sometimes, people get stuck in the Real Housewives of Atlanta bubble and the people who hate Kenya Moore bubble. So they see one thing, but trust and believe I will always come on here and show you the other side. There are a lot of articles out there not defending him, and there are a lot of people that are not here for what he did. So even though Kenya Moore is a forgiving person, it doesn't mean what he did was right. My apologies for being repetitive in some parts, but this is what happens when you recorded something previously and then you decided to add to it because you came across new tweets and new conversations. So in the midst of having those new conversations, you end up repeating yourself. Thank you all for your patience. I'll be back with part 3, which is my review of the entire episode. And some of the things that I said in here might probably be repeated in that video because I did an entire review, but took some parts of that review and added it in this video since we're talking about this topic. And for the people who tweeted that the whole clip about Sanya, her sister, and her husband situation, they were doing it for camera time, that says a lot about their character. If you believe that's true, that you would do all of that and embarrass yourself for camera time in a moment. And if that's true, then there you have it. She's doing the same thing on The Real Housewife of Atlanta, where she doesn't have an issue with someone. She can't even explain what the person did wrong to her. She have to think about it just to keep her peach. If you can't be genuine and you're creating fake moments and storylines just to stay on the show, this is not the show for you. But hey, she won't be the first one who's faked an entire storyline and lied on people on this show for a check. She won't be the first one to do it. I'm wishing all of you well. My loves, thank you all for your love and support. If you're not subscribed to the channel, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Go ahead and leave this video a thumbs up. Also turn on notifications so when I do post, you're aware that I posted. And I will see you all in the comment section. Remember to always have the God bless attitude, which is being positive at all times and seeing the good in every situation. Have a great day, guys. God bless.